right. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm just parked on. I've moved into my parents' house, and so now my music room is actually this old room with bunk beds and
Oh,
and I'm just on the floor with MIDI keyboard, microphone over here, and it's the bunk beds. So it's just here we are doing this.
yeah. So actually, in my house, we are doing some changes to the basement because I bought a trundle so I could have both the couch and a bed, so it would work out in the studio or whatever. But we have a lot of cleaning to do, so it's we're just gonna put everything right in the corner. So I didn't have access to that for 30 whole seconds. So no. But yeah.
The first in here, I was I don't know where to put all this. What I do.
Yeah, that's why I've done a travel set of things where I have microphone, a small interface, and then I just use my laptop. But then there's also my setup, which I have to have. But I guess we already kind of started. But hello everybody. This is another episode of Seaside Chats. This is available in YouTube video, which will be later posted on podcast. But we are doing it live right now on the Instagram. So yay. Okay, so here I'm with Sadie. If you don't know Sadie, hi Rachel. She was in a couple she was first in Walk of Fame, and we wrote that song together, and we did an interview around that time. Which was the very first interview we did. And then you did Lately, which was my last release. But then there's some other cool things that you are doing too. Because last time on the podcast, you said you weren't sure what you're going to do with release because you were in this weird middle phase. Yeah. Because you just barely graduated. But then you were moving about and you're going to Chicago too. So anyway, so you couldn't really get music out, especially COVID's already around too, so that's just another thing. But you were able to release a song between last time, and I had to listen to it again because I love it. So
I like it too.
So what program did you use, and how did you go about that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you were so I you were listing all of the things of this has been going on. This I was
everything.
I've been doing a lot. It's those moments when you feel really lazy, of I haven't been doing enough. And then when you're yeah, I'm COVID and just graduating and moving, I was yeah, I've got a lot going on. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll make you seem less lazy. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I did release that song. It was really fun. That was kind of my quarantine project, I guess you could say. I wrote it with one of my good friends that I met at UVU. He graduated the year before me. Name's Colin Cooper. He's a really good guitarist. But I was doing the dishes one day, and I just I got the chorus in my mind. I don't know what about doing the dishes stimulated my creativity that day, but it did it.
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I do dishes at my job, and I got a song idea from doing that. So I can confirm you are 100% right. Doing dishes helps write music.
When you're, what's the word? Mindlessly doing something. When I'm driving, in the shower or cleaning, that kind of lets ideas go into your brain pretty easy. I don't know. At least happens for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came up with it, the chorus, at least the thing, just need it, and recorded into a voice memo. I was that could be something. And then I took it to my friend because we were planning on writing that week anyways. And I was if I have this chorus and I have this story in my mind of this thing that happened when I was 18 or 19 or on my 18th birthday.
So it wasn't 17. You lied to us.
With the lyric, because I told the story of I was hanging out. It wasn't exactly the story I told in the song, but that it was like, but like the whole time I was like thinking about someone else or like whatever, just cheesy. But you know, and I was like, and I feel like that could go really well with the chorus. But then as we tried to write it, we like tried to put the age 18 there and it wasn't working. And then so he's like, what about 17? I was like, but then we're liars. And he's like he literally like, don't be annoying. And so I was like, you're right. Okay. So we did 17.
So fun fact, all songwriters are a little bit of liars. Just a little bit.
Yeah, like the idea of the first verse was true. And then, so we kind of wrote like the bare bones of it. Like he helped me write with the first couple lines, but there were a couple like filler lines that I was like, maybe. And then the second verse kind of tells the story of like you're performing somewhere and everyone's there except for that one person that you want it to be there. And because I was like, okay, what could I do for the second verse? And he's like, our freshman year, like you performed at Valley Voice. And I was like, yeah, I did. Okay, that's a cool way. So it was like fun to do it with someone who like I've known for so long. And like he was able to be like, oh, what about this part from your life? I was like, oh yeah, that could be a thing. So we wrote this song, we kind of wrote it, and then we wrote the bridge that night too. Well, part of the bridge, I guess. Anyways, and then I took it home, and there were a couple lyrics that I wasn't for sure on. So I snuck my birthday, which I feel so.
So it is the 23rd of July.
23rd. That I told the truth. My birthday, 23rd of July. I feel like that was like really extra to like put my birthday in a song, but like, so. But I did tell the truth about my birthday. I feel like that would have been too much. Can't lie about the birthday.
Oh yeah. Can't tell too many lies.
Yeah. And then he like texted me, he's like, what if like we just recorded this week? Because he has like a little studio he has access to. Yes, let's do it. So he like put this piano part on loop and then we went in, record the vocals. There was a couple lyrics in like the pre-chorus type thing that like I pretty much finalized like a minute before we got into the boot. Like I recorded the vocal. So it was very like spur of the moment. And then I really liked it. We just had the piano. We just had the vocal for a while. And then we were trying to figure it because it needed something else. Well, we had the snaps and the beat, like the beat and the piano. And that's all it was for like a week. But then he started playing around with some sounds and added like a little bit of a higher synth and then like this music box that I think comes in at the chorus that I think just like gives it a little bit of a like energy where it needed it. I don't know. It was cool. The cool thing about the song is like everything is like they're all free samples. Like everything was free. Like the microphone's like 100 like a cheap microphone, you know, but hey, we did it. Like it took us like a couple weeks and then he's like, release it. And I was like, you're right. Okay.
Yay. So everything else that you had at UVU is still under wraps, work in progress, but you were able to like, this was just a spur of the moment and like, yes.
This was a very spur of the moment release where like we wrote it 2 weeks later, it was done. And I was like, I really like this. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's just put it out.
Let's be done. So with that in mind, like having somebody you know or knows you really well, when you were writing the song with him, what was it? Because you kind of talked a little bit about how it was helpful because you like brought up moments in your life. Do you think that helped you be even more personal in this song? Or do you think it like, what's the pros and cons to like writing with somebody you know like that well?
No, of course. I mean, the funny thing is like I met him my freshman year of college, like in our one of my first classes, and we were like really close. Like that was like 5 years ago, but we hadn't written really any songs together until quarantine, until like a month or two before quarantine, and then we started getting together like once a week. We haven't done it for a while. We pretty much stopped since we put out Just Needed, but for a while there we were meeting like once a week and writing a different song together every week. And that, for one, good to have someone hold me accountable and like keep me writing. But then it was just like fun because I was like, oh, I'm like writing every day. And then so the song that I put out, it's like a song that's like the concept has been in my brain for so long, like since probably at the time that I met him. So then when I came to him with the chorus, I was like, listen, like this song, like I have this chorus and this is about this. And he was like, oh yeah, I remember you talking to me about that one. Like, yeah. So you remember how I felt? And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so it was actually really helpful because like I said, like he was able to be like, oh, what about that time? And I was like, oh yeah, like that. And the other thing cool, like the lyric in the bridge, it's my favorite lyric from the song, and he wrote it. Of like, I'm surrounded by the love I cannot take. I fill your place again, then wait for my heart to break. I was like, yeah, that's how I felt. And like, it was just like the fun thing of like, I didn't write that line, but like, he heard me vent about it and like cry about it and like be like this and this, that he was like, oh, this is how you felt. And I was like, yeah.
So he was able to put it into words of something that like you were so in the moment of, that you probably couldn't have. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool thing. And like, and I think it was nice too because it was a very vulnerable song for me. And I think it's scary to be vulnerable with someone you don't know. So it like drew back that layer of like, we don't have to pretend this isn't real and that we don't have to pretend this isn't how he felt. Because when I met him, I'm like, this is what I was going through. So I was kind of like, hey, remember that 5 years ago? Yeah, we're writing about that right now. So that's cool. It kind of made it fun. You know, it's like a therapy session too. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, like all songwriting sessions should be, or something like that. Whether it's just up here or like actually in here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think I know this about you, but I thought I might as well ask. So
yeah,
how did your songwriting, well, I guess just music journey, but then songwriting journey happen? Because I know you did that EP with that one label a while ago, but then I feel like there's a lot more to the story before the EP and like, oh, I want to write songs type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a long story. Well, like, okay, so here's a cute thing that I have, like, just available. So, okay, so I have a notebook from 4th grade. And the first page is, Dear future Sadie, please feel free to change any of these songs. I won't be offended. Love, past Sadie. Signed, day of 4th grade program. So that's how long I've been writing. Like, that's the night I started my songwriting journal. And I was so thoughtful, you know, back then to be like, oh, I won't be offended. Just change anything.
Is there like anything in like the margins that basically said, hey, future Sadie, this line might need a little bit of changing in that 4th grade. Well, actually, like your 4th grade self was so aware.
Because I remember like I would write like little songs, and then like a couple years later, like when I was still in elementary school, I like went through and like put would on sticky notes and like wrote my thoughts on the song. So like this verse is good, sticky note. And then like I actually stole this on accident, sticky note. Like if you go back now, you can read the songs, but then you can read 6th grade Sadie.
Awesome. Do you still have it though, right?
Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 songwriting journals from 4th grade through high school, and like they are my treasures. I
think I might have mine.
But they are my treasures.
You need to frame that and like put that in your studio or like your songwriting corner, because I know you did like that vision board too. And so I mean, like that could be right next to the vision board. Like you've already been this far. Let's get you the rest of the way.
Exactly. So that's how long I've been writing songs. Because like when I was like a kid, I like wanted to be an author when I grew up or whatever. So like I'm telling stories, but then I love to sing, and so it just made sense that like write songs, and I did. I wrote so many. they were so good, let me tell you.
If you could guess in like the ballpark, how many songs have you written, and like in comparison, and just to like put that contrast in, you have 6 songs out, technically, right? 6-ish,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, I do have 6 songs out. I always like forget about the EP that I put out when I was a teenager, just because I'm like, that was a different life.
let's forget about it. There's a few songs I want to forget about too. So
No, I don't know. I mean, like, because like the songs I wrote when I was like 10, that's like it's like a paragraph. Like that's not a song, but like at the time I was like, I'm writing a song. So like,
oh yeah, definitely.
like I didn't know what a chorus was. I didn't know what a verse was. I just knew that these were the lyrics. So I don't know. Like at this point, like a couple 100 probably. Like you know, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I should like go through and like actually count them all. Like
yeah, I was more curious because I've heard like different people say different things. Like you're not a real songwriter, or a real musician until you hit 100 songs type thing, or 50 songs. Your first 50 songs you throw away.
I am at least to 100. I feel very good that I have. I mean, like I said, since 4th grade, I've been there. So I feel good that I'm at 100. So that's good.
Awesome. So I have more questions, but I don't know where to start.
Away.
All right, let's actually see if anybody else put a question on. Oh, nobody has any questions right now.
Right.
We had a lot of people join, including, it looks like some of your relatives.
I know, my mom. I don't know my mom's watching, but hi, Mom. I love you.
Awesome. So, inspirations. I know you've said that you're a huge fan of like Taylor Swift, as well as, by the way, I did listen to Golden Hours by Casey Musgraves. Ooh, I loved that album, and I'm gonna definitely I put the first song on my list of songs to cover. So,
have you just recently listened to that album?
Yeah, I know Casey Musgraves. I love her songs, but I listened to that album all the way through, and Rainbow is of course wonderful. I already knew that one was great, but then like listening to each one, that was so good. Biscuits.
She's so good. I can't even. Oh, she's so good. I could just like go on about her. She won Album of the Year at the Grammys like 2 years ago, and I was just like on my couch crying. Like I don't know why. I just was like, I love her.
So what about Casey Musgraves makes you like is inspiring to you?
Okay, a cool thing that I love about Casey Musgraves is that like she's not afraid to be funny in her songs. Like in her song, she has the songs Biscuits. It's like
I love that one.
Biscuits and Life Will Be Gravy. Like I feel like I would be like, I can't put that in a song.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Musgraves was like, watch me. I'm gonna put this the hook of my song. Like, but it like always, but it still comes off like so sophisticated and refined. Like I don't understand how you can like put that in a song, and I'm just like, yes, this is powerful. This is how it was meant to be. But then you read the lyrics, and it's like, you know, mind your own biscuits, and life will be gravy. And I'm just like, yeah, mind your own biscuits. Like,
what does that even mean?
Oh, your own business, but your biscuits.
Yeah.
Mind your own biscuits. So that's something that I like about her is like she's so just like herself, and like you can just feel that in her songs that she's like, I feel like there's times I'm listening to lyrics and I'm like, she thought that was funny and she loved it. And that, so it's in the song, like or even just like in the album Golden Hour, in the song Lonely Weekend, like it's so conversational. Like I've got a million things to do, but I haven't done a single one. If my sister were in town, we'd be out doing something fun. And it's like, yeah, like, you know, like when you say it, it's like, it like almost doesn't feel like they should be lyrics, but it's like when you listen to the song, it's like, I feel that in my soul. Like, yeah. So I think that's what I like about her. It's like, it's so herself, but like and because of that, she has the most unique lyrics ever. Cause like, she's just I don't know. It's like, it's kind of brave, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's cool.
Yeah, very cool. So now that we're talking about lyrics, it's actually just, so earlier today I was in a songwriting session, and I still great, loved it, but anyway, I was thinking of things like, wow, there's some things I don't know about songwriting or lyrics, because the two people I was writing with were taking a different approach, and I loved that, like, their approach, and I loved their input.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess there's like a part that was frustrating to me, because I'm like, this is way different than what I've done. So with your lyric writing, what have you found to be like the balance of like basic lyrics, like something that Casey Musgraves would do, but still like super insightful? Or I feel like every lyric has to be perfect. How have you like overcome that? Or what does it look like? Maybe that's too big of a question.
No need to apologize. That's a good question. And I don't know if I even have an answer, because I think I'm still trying to figure the answer out. Of like, because I think it's like that balance of like, I don't want to be too cliche, and I want to be creative, you know, like I want to be poetic, or I want to like talk about this new thing in a new way, but I don't know. I think like the focus is just like not forcing it, you know? If it's just like, and also just like, I think there's such a power in just like putting something on the paper, because the truth is like I think a lot of songwriters get stuck in this where like they don't finish anything because they can't think of anything else, or what they think of isn't good enough. So it's just like an unfinished product. And I don't feel like there's really anything valuable. Like there's nothing valuable in an unfinished song. But there is something valuable in a finished song that might be edited one day, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like just giving myself permission to just put the first thing down on paper that I think of, and like trusting that if there's a better lyric there, it's gonna come. Like I have one song that like I'm working on, and I've been working on forever. It's like in the stage, but I know that there's a lyric in the chorus that's just not right. Like it's not right. And
placeholder.
Yeah. Well, it's like a phrase, and I've gone through like 3 or 4 different versions of it, and every single time I get to, I'm like, that's it. And then when I think of it, I'm like, no, that's not right. But at the same time, though, like I've been able to continue. Granted, I haven't been able to continue momentum on the song because of COVID and the cut down, and the person I was working on it with moved back home. So besides the point, but like I was able to get some momentum on it, and like get it into the studio, and like put something down, because I wasn't waiting for it to be perfect. I was like, okay, like this is what I have. I'm going to sit on it for a while. And now I've had a lot more time to sit on it than I planned to. And I've been able to think of like, you know, different lyrics for it that I think are all good options. So I think that's the thing of just like not expecting perfection from yourself, just putting something on the paper and just like trusting the process. So like if there's a better version of it, it'll come out.
What was it like? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
And side note that song's probably my favorite I've ever written, and one day it's going to come out and it will be the best. But I don't know when that will be. But
eventually. At some point.
My best one. Anyway, so I don't really know if that was an answer to your question, but like that's...
No, that was great. Yeah. What was it like figuring that out as like a beginner songwriter? Like maybe when you were 12, like getting into, oh, this is what a chorus is actually, or...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What? Figuring what out? What exactly is the question?
Figuring out that you need to get like past yourself and not expect perfection. Because I feel like that's like a whole journey in and of itself that every songwriter has to figure out.
I wish I learned it when I was 12, because the truth is I was 19 and like my sophomore year of college, and I was like, okay, I don't have very many finished songs, and I was like, what's up with that? And now I have like a lot of songs with like pretty crappy second verses, but I'm like, you know what? They're done. So I can be proud of it.
Second verses usually suffer. Yeah. Or first verses, I don't know.
Yeah. gosh, I hate second verses and they hate me. That's okay though. We're learning.
We're building that relationship.
We're building that relationship. Me and second verses, it's like really complicated, but I have faith that we can make it. We'll get married one day. Sorry, I needed to stop, but I didn't want to.
No, you're good.
Okay, let me think. What was I saying? That's the the tricky thing though is it takes so freaking forever, and it's like a process of like reminding yourself like I'm good enough, and reminding yourself like I can write songs, and you know, I don't know. It's just this like I think it's just a daily practice of just like I don't know, just giving yourself permission to not be perfect, and also I think realizing too that like giving yourself permission to like write bad songs, you know, like I think for a while it was like everything I write has to be good. And once I stopped putting that expectation on myself, it got just a lot easier because no one might ever see this, and that's fine.
Awesome. So speaking of growing and like figuring out perfection, I'm gonna pivot over to singing, because so last time we were talking about this, somebody I know felt like I called you out because I said I tuned your vocals, or just like used like the one little like the small thing. So this time I'd like to admit that sorry, hold on. I will admit that I did not touch your vocals regarding tuning at all in this last song. So that is all raw. So you're welcome.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say like I will not pretend to have the best vocal cords that ever graced this earth. As much as I love to always be in tune, homegirl flat, sometimes sharp, and sometimes just in another universe. So it's okay. I'm surprised that you didn't tune it. That actually kind of makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's why it's perfect as it is.
I mean,
yeah. By the way, you gave me that little glare regarding tuning, and I felt like you were staring into my soul, like, oh, I know.
No, I was wondering what you were going to admit. I was surprised that the admission was that you didn't tune my vocals. I was like, wow, I wouldn't have been upset, for the record. And for whoever thinks you called me out, like, no, it's okay. Like, when I'm recording myself, I'm just like, we can melodyne that. Like, just shit. Even the last song that I released, funny enough, I wrote a chorus that was actually really hard for me to sing, truthfully. So, the oohs that are in there, yeah, I didn't sing that. That is pitch shifted, and I am not afraid to admit it.
So, I guess so what I noticed is that you still had to learn a lot, so too, because nobody really notices unless they've actually tuned the vocals. So what was it like getting to that point? Well, maybe it was, maybe not so much, because I don't know if this was the case with you, but when you learning how to sing, for example, because I know I could use some work. So how did you get to the point of singing so well that autotune isn't really a huge question?
Well, first off, that is very kind of you, because I don't know. The funny thing with singing is, honestly, that's something that I'm really insecure about, is my singing voice, because I feel like the kind of singing voice I have, I do feel like I can sing in tune, but it doesn't maybe have like a certain quality that I would want, or just different things. It's stupid, but hold on one second. If I like get out of my Instagram, is it going to end the live, or is it just going to pause the live?
I think it's going to pause. So I will still stay live and have to entertain everybody, but you should be able to come back on. Yeah, because you are freezing a little bit. Oh, wait.
So I got the note. I knew I was about to get. I set like timers on my Instagram
Oh yeah, that's right. Because like productivity, which
So
that's probably another question later.
I don't ignore it, but so I knew it was coming up that I was hitting my mark. So I was wondering if it would end the live or if it would just pause it, but it just paused it. So all is well.
Okay, good.
Anyways, like I was saying, with singing, it's literally been this, it's honestly something, like I said, that's something that I've been really insecure about. And truthfully, like with singing, it's just something that I always wanted to do. Like in high school and like junior high, I was definitely like the singing girl, like would sing at all the high school talent shows and the assembly. But like, you know, I go back and I listen and I was like, I was good, but I wasn't like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Um, and so I don't know, like it's just practice, you know? And I think there's kind of like this misconception with songwriting, with not songwriting, with singing, because like it's our throats and like we just kind of have to use what God gave us or whatever to produce music, you know, rather than like learning how to play the piano better, learning how to play the guitar better. That like what we have is what we're stuck with. And, you know, like that's kind of the end. But it's really something that you can strengthen and grow. And honestly, like it's just like that consistency and that practice. And even like now, like I'm graduated now, which is horrifying. But also like I've recently gotten a new vocal teacher and a new vocal coach because I was noticing problems with my voice, and so I was like, how can I fix them? And all that's really done is like reinstated in my mind like just the importance of consistency and like good vocal warm-ups and like being aware of just like what's going on. And like, you know, because and also too, like for one thing, if singing hurts, you're doing it wrong because singing shouldn't hurt you. And now it's learning how I can like sing in my chest voice or sing in a belty way without it hurting me. So I don't know, it's very nice that you say that about singing. I think as a kid I did have a natural inclination to pitch, which was helpful. And I you know, I do feel like if you're going to sing, that is important. But to be able to at least match a pitch as well as you can. But, you know, other than that, it's like, if this is something I want to do, find a vocal coach or find someone you trust that, you know, could give you exercises that aren't going to ruin your voice. And you got to be so careful too, because it is your own throat. And I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, it's like my relationship with my vocal cords is so just like sometimes I love them, sometimes I wish they sounded different, and sometimes I'm like, stop it, don't be insecure, you are fine.
So besides getting a vocal teacher, practice, and I guess as we're going to get into more technical, you've heard me sing a few times.
I have. So,
or maybe it's something that you might not notice. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I took a vocal pedagogy class once, but I'm no expert.
Hey, I'll take any expertise above my own. So obviously, I'm right here. You're up here.
How often do you sing? Like, do you make like a considered?
Not often enough. Not daily.
Okay, that's
maybe fair. Not even weekly.
Well, I think the important thing to realize is like there's a difference between singing in the shower and there's a difference between like practicing, you know, because it's like I think anyone who wants to sing would just be benefited by like I try and spend like a half hour every day. I have not been very good at that this week, but I did do it today during my lunch break at work because I work from home now, so that's not weird.
Yay! Just somebody like looks over the cubicle. What the?
I should preface that I do work from home. I am not at my cubicle at work. Just singing casual scales.
That note was a little sharp, huh?
Anyways, I think just like doing like scales, like figuring out how it feels like in, you know, in a way that you don't feel tense. I think another thing, I don't know my body that's tense. Am I clenching my jaw? Is my tongue doing something weird? You know, like is my throat, like, am I moving my neck forward to hit high notes? You know what I mean? It's all about like, and like watching yourself sing in a mirror is so helpful too, because it's like, sometimes I think I'm fine. And then I realize that when I'm trying to hit a note that's higher, that like my eyebrows go up and I'm like, that's weird. Like, you know, or that like put my chin forward, or that like I do weird things with my jaw. So it's all about like finding like those things of like, what's the weird thing that I'm doing? Because the truth is if you're doing something like that, you should stop. You shouldn't do that. So I think that would just be like my general advice. Like if you want to become a better singer, take time to like dedicate to like doing scales and practicing every day, but then identifying, is there tension? Is there something weird that I'm doing? And try to figure out how you can eliminate those. I mean, like I said, I think eventually, like I'm going to advocate for singing teachers because they've helped me a lot. And I'm not going to pretend that I figured this all out on my own, because my vocal teachers are what helped me so much. But at the same time, like that's just like a really great starting point that anyone can do, you know?
Okay. Maybe I'll take it. Maybe I'll never sing a note again. We'll see.
Everyone should sing. Doesn't it's fun. Singing's happy.
It is fun, but professionally, we'll see. Let me see if there's any more questions before maybe we should wrap this up. Anyway, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with the whole world or the whole 3 people watching?
Well, I appreciate that. Hello. I don't know. Do you have anything? I don't know. I've shared so much of my wisdom today. Just kidding.
I know. I don't. We'll see when I get the pleasure of sharing my wisdom. Go ahead.
Oh, because I told Jordan, my husband, what I was doing tonight, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so I'm going to be interviewed." He's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I'm like, "Well, like, it's
bring him in here. We'll talk to him."
No. He was just like, he's like, "That's cool. You're being interviewed." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, it kind of makes me feel like when I was like telling him, like, "Oh yeah, someone's interviewing me on their Instagram." He was like, "That's cool," and I was like, "Yeah, it is kind of cool. Thanks." So that was. Thank you for making me feel cool.
Oh, I'm willing to make anybody cool, because in reality, everybody is cool. It's just like asking the right questions and finding out. Maybe I need to work on some of my interviewing skills, but like I like talking about music, so it should be easy enough,
That's
right?
the thing. I'm like, if someone's gonna ask about songwriting, that's perfect. That's literally the only thing I could always be talking about. So perfect.
I know that I've probably annoyed people with how much I love talking about music.
It was funny. I was on something like for the 4th of July. I was up at Bear Lake, and there was a family friend, and they turned on Dancing Queen. And I was like, and I told my dad, I was like, "Dad, like in my songwriting class, we like analyzed and discussed this song." And then someone was like, "Oh, like what did you guys like? What did you come up with?" I'm like, "We discovered that this is a really, really good song." And that's pretty much all there is to it.
Sometimes like we dig in to think there's something deeper, and then it's like, oh, your birthday is actually just on the 23rd of July.
Yeah, and maybe
or
the first verse is a lie. It is. I was 18. Well, yeah, okay. Yep, I was 18. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Do you have anything to plug, or are still things up in the air? Just follow you to make sure they keep music, or?
Yeah, things are, as far as releasing new music, I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a while before I do it again, just because I think I'm going to really try and invest a little bit more money than I have in the past. So that's my next step. Right now, I'm currently actually working on like an online songwriting course for beginning songwriters.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm really focusing right now, is like writing that and putting that together. Because as much as I love writing songs, as this live has proven, I love talking about songs, and so I'm just trying to figure out a way how I can like teach that and keep doing that. So that's my goal right now, is to launch that course. Hopefully by the end of the year is the plan, and then we'll start probably next year putting out an EP of some sorts. So that's the
I'm excited. Well, I actually have a question on that.
So with this most recent song, it was more in like the pop realm, maybe
Yes.
like indie realm.
Mhm.
But you've also done like the country stuff in your EP.
Yeah.
The first EP. So what is this next EP gonna probably look like as you work on it?
Yeah, so you are correct that that everything else has been, it was country, and then like a year ago I put out 2 singles that were very acoustic and like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This new one is and the most recent was most pop, and that's definitely showing the direction that I want to be going and that I will be going. The demo of these songs, they are my pop dreams coming true. So that's the direction we're gonna keep going.
If you can, maybe like put a little sneak peek here and there on Instagram, and I will forever love you.
I know. Right now, it's like I don't even want to put a sneak peek because I literally have no clue when it will be done.
Yeah, I feel that too. I actually looked back on some posts, and some of these songs, I'm like, I'm gonna release this song in a couple weeks. It was never released. Morgan Freeman style. Little did you know, it would never be released.
Yeah, for real. And my thing is I think with this, I've been a little bit more sporadic with my last releases, and the next time I do it, I'm gonna kind of a little bit go in a little bit more full force and like purposeful. So
schedule type.
Next year we're gonna finish out 2020, and next year we'll do it.
Oh yeah, it's already been weird and rough, and it's an election year. Let's just throw that into the mix, you know?
Because why not?
Because that makes everything better.
Yeah, always.
All right, thank you so much. So like you said, she's gonna have new music out. Make sure you follow her on Instagram and Spotify, but Spotify's kind of mean to their artists, so you can also follow them on Tidal because Tidal treats their artists better. Tomorrow's 8:20.
I use Spotify, maybe I shouldn't, so
no.
Okay, just kidding.
No judgment, but switch.
No judgment, but yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah. Or just buy my song on iTunes. I get more royalties that way.
I know. Anyway, so that's my plug. I'm going to have another song next week. You can listen to the song that Sadie has done with me lately, which was released last week, for Walk of Fame, which was released back in May. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for joining us, Sadie.
Happy to be here, as always.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.